I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank all the members of the media and the press for the work you've been doing over these last several weeks. Just want to start off by, again, conveying all the support that we've had from not only this community, but from around the country to those victims of the mass shooting that happened here on October the 4th. We know that there's still a long recovery process for many of those that are dealing with the trauma and the injuries, as well as their families that will be not just here as the physical wounds heal, but also as the mental wounds take many, many more weeks and months to truly heal, if they ever heal. But we also know that means our city is also in the healing process. And we continue to deliver on our promise for justice. We have arrested 4 suspects in this incident, and we expect all those tied to them to be held accountable. That progress reflects the tireless work of the Montgomery Police Department under Chief Jim Grayboys and the collaboration of our law enforcement partners, including the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, the Alabama Law Enforcement Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, ATF, FBI, and the U.S. Marshal Service. We want to explicitly call them out because all of them have been integral in the process that's been going on here. So from the sheriff and police chief to those at the state and federal levels, we say thank you for your work, for your investment, your energy, and technology and expertise. This coordination has not only been critical in this case, but in multiple recent investigations that are making Montgomery safer. We want to thank everybody in the community for the role they played. We want to thank everybody who has given us a tip or a suggestion as well to help bring all of those to justice. But let me be clear, this investigation is not over. It is not over by a long shot. We will continue to pursue every individual involved, whether they pull the trigger, help conceal evidence, or try to obstruct justice. Everyone responsible will be held accountable. From the start, I said that violence would not define Montgomery, and we meant just that. We will not allow criminal acts to overshadow the strength and resolve of this community. At the same time, we're doubling down on prevention and community engagement, expanding surveillance and communication systems, investing in recruitment and retention, while building on initiatives like our Together We Rise initiative and the Office of Violence Prevention. When tragedy strikes, we have found that some people look to turn pain into politics. That doesn't help the victims, it doesn't help the community, and it doesn't make our neighborhood safer. Real leadership means showing up, staying steady, and solving problems, not trying to score cheap political points to win the day or the week. We are focused on results and outcomes, on arrests, on prevention, and on partnerships that move Montgomery forward. With that said, I'll turn it over to Chief Grayboys for an update on this investigation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, and thank you all for being here. I want to begin by thanking our law enforcement partners, of course, local, federal, and state. It is of note that all of the work that we did with Montgomery Sheriff's Office, Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, ATF, Fusion Center, Otago County Sheriff's Office, FBI, U.S. Marshals, the Montgomery County District Attorney's Office, the Alabama Attorney General's Office, and the U.S. Attorneys has all worked together to handle this case and move it forward. Of course, move it forward with the arrests of the 4 individuals. Now, their collaboration and their dedication have been vital to helping us solve these violent crimes and bring to justice to the victims and their families. But I want to provide updates on several major investigations that show both the progress we're making and some of the ongoing challenges we faced. First, 4 individuals have been arrested in connection to the October 4th mass shooting. The first, a juvenile male. The second, a Dontavius McGee, and the third, Kiamonte Hood, each of these three subjects have been charged with 1 count of capital murder, 9 counts of assault in the first degree, and 3 counts of assault in the second degree. A fourth shooter on the scene, Javoric Whiting, has been charged with 1 count of attempted murder. It has been brought to my attention today that, of course, that subject has bonded out on this attempted murder charge. These senseless acts of violence on October 4th, that claimed the lives of Shalonda Williams and Jeremiah Morris will not be forgotten. And personally, I'm so angry about it. I'm angry about every homicide. We are going to do everything we can to keep investigating this case. Our hearts are with their families and their friends and their loved ones as they mourn. We will continue to pursue justice until every person involved is either, whether they were involved directly or indirectly, they will be held accountable. If somebody is hindering us or hiding anybody who might be involved, you will face consequences. We are going over every piece of evidence with a fine-tooth comb. And so this investigation, of course, is going to continue until every individual is held accountable who needs to be held accountable. Now, I want to talk about some other things as well because they've been on my mind. And some of the things I'm going to talk about here are some other cases that we're working on. Over the course of the past month, we've arrested and charged Kadarius Griggs, age 19, in the shooting death of Eldrin Wright, age 22. He was killed on October 23rd, 2024, in the 1000 block of Liberty Square. As some of you all might be familiar, that was a 5th suspect that we developed and arrested in relation to the Liberty Square shooting of last year. I'm mentioning that because that also goes to my point that we don't care how long it takes. We're going to go and pursue every investigation till its full completion and until we get every individual we deem has been involved and charge them. In addition, we also charged Detrick Donnell Johnson, age 22. He got arrested with capital murder in the shooting death of Kendall Foy, which took place on September 14th, 2025. And of course, he was taken into custody on September 17th. Most recently, we arrested and charged Derrickana Dunklin, age 20, with murder in the stabbing death of Amari Capleton, age 19, which occurred in the 3200 block of Raintree Drive on September 21st. Each of these arrests reflects the hard work, persistence, and dedication of our detectives and our law enforcement partners. But these cases also highlight a serious ongoing concern. Too often, violent crimes are committed by individuals who are already out on bond for other serious offenses. This pattern of repeat violence puts our community and our officers at risk. I am again calling on our judicial system to partner with us in ensuring that violent offenders are held accountable and do not have the opportunity to reoffend. True public safety requires follow-through from the first arrest to the final resolution. In the past 30 days, 57 individuals have been arrested on felony charges here in Montgomery. Some of these arrests are connected, actually, to these major investigations, while others involve separate violent crimes. Each arrest represents a step towards restoring safety and trust in our community. To the parents and guardians of Montgomery, I want to speak directly to you. Know where your children are and who they're spending time with. Talk to them about the choices they are making. Talk to them about the people who they surround themselves with. Your awareness and guidance can prevent tragedy. Our police department remains fully committed to protecting the city. We will continue to work alongside our law enforcement partners, our community, and our judicial system to ensure justice is served, and that Montgomery remains a safe place to work, live, and raise a family. Be open for questions. Yes, sir.
I believe
Yes, the public response has been instrumental in helping us identify, even and locate suspects that we've taken into custody in relation to the October 4th shooting. And I would, of course, tell people, if you know anything, call us. As this investigation is still ongoing, we are going over lots of evidence. To give you an example, you probably have at least over 150 cameras that were downtown that in that area, so to speak, that we are literally perusing evidence from and actually garnering and examining to see how that fits into this case. There was lots of people involved in the incident that night. You know, some were, of course, innocent bystanders, some were not. And of course, you know, what we are doing is, by going over all of that evidence, we're pinpointing everybody who is involved in this in a criminal manner, and we're not going to stop until, whether it's a minor criminal manner or a major, we don't care. We are going after everybody. If you were involved in the criminal aspect of that night, we're going after you. So that's why this investigation is going to continue. Yes, sir.
In regards to the suspect that wanted out, do you think there was anything that should have been done differently by the justice system?
I think that the subject bonding out shows that maybe we need to do some reform. Attempted murder, which is what that subject was charged with, does not fall under Anaya's law. That's really something that needs to be considered. $60,000 was the maximum bond you could get for that charge. So now, as police officers, we're going to do everything we can to arrest somebody and hold them accountable. But once they get arrested, what happens when it's in the justice system? What happens when they go before the judge who determines whether to hold them or not, or to to utilize Anaya's law? What happens when they get sentenced? I mean, you know, I'm going to give another example, because I'll tell you, I'm really angry, because the fact of the matter is that individuals should not be acting the way these 4 individuals acted, and of course we charged them. But to give you an example, and I'm just pulling this literally randomly, we arrested on the 22nd of September Demetric McLemore for robbery first. Okay, 22nd of September, so less than a month ago. That subject, not only does he have a long criminal history, but back in 2023, I'm showing 2 things on my sheet here with him. For robbery second, he did a guilty plea. And apparently an arrest on the same date, and 7/31/23, arrest for robbery first. But he was already out for us to arrest him on the 22nd of last month. And these are just 2 of the violent felonies I'm looking at. If I look at another one, right behind him, I've got a subject we arrested also on September 22nd for robbery first and kidnapping, 2 counts of each. But then in 2023, I'm showing that the subject has a robbery first and a murder arrest. And now we have the subject who was charged with attempted murder, and he's out on bond 4 days after we arrested him. So the police can arrest, and we will solve crimes. We're solving this one. And as I said before, 57 other crimes over the last 30 days that were serious felonies that we've solved. But what happens after they get arrested? There's a serious conversation that needs to be had, and I think we need assistance, basically both legislatively and in the judicial system, about what we're going to do. I think Anaya's law is a great law, but maybe it needs to be expanded. Maybe people need to use the discretion that Anaya's law gives them to hold people for trial when they've been arrested for violent felonies. Next question. Yes, ma'am. It has not. I have not been notified of any changes to their status. As I am presently aware, 3 are still considered life-threatening. Of course, my prayers are with them. I want to see everybody recover from this. So we're just monitoring that. And of course, as conditions can change, charges can change as well. But we will pursue every avenue available to us to make sure that people are held accountable. Yes, sir.
There were some reports right after the incident that some of the people who were
As we investigate that, we will have to pinpoint who has criminal liability and who does not. Of course, that's one of the reasons why we're being so painstakingly methodical in going over all of the evidence. As I stated earlier, I mean, we're looking at over 150 cameras that were, you know, because we've been going to all the businesses in the area, all of our own cameras in the area, body cams that all the officers were wearing, body cams that even people responding were wearing. We're having to reconstruct the whole incident so we know the proper people to charge. Now, the 4 we've already charged, those were the proper people to charge. That's why we charged them. But we're also looking at other individuals, you know, that the video is picking up, and if charges are appropriate, they will be charged as well. Now, one of the reasons I mentioned about even indirect people possibly facing charges is because one thing we have found is that sometimes when we're looking for somebody, we might get lied to, where somebody's like, oh, I don't know this person, or oh, I don't know where they are. And if somebody obstructs us that way, well, then you know what? They're going to be held accountable on it. Or if somebody's hiding evidence or hiding a weapon on behalf of somebody involved. Well, if we find that out, they're going to be held accountable on that. I mean, this investigation is going to last as long as it takes to hold everybody accountable. You know, you go after the most dangerous people first, of course. But at the end of the day, you've got to keep that investigation going because you don't always know everything that the evidence will point out. But we will keep going on this, and we will hold everybody who is criminally liable responsible. Yes, sir. I'd like to add all the violent crimes to that. If you have a crime with violence, if you have a crime where somebody was injured, it should be added to it. You know, one of the key elements for a police officer to make an arrest is, of course, you have to have that evidence showing that the person you're arresting committed that violent act. And then, you know, once you put them in jail for that, if that person is constituting a danger to the community, then they need to be held until it's time to go to trial. I mean, one of the key things about it is, as I stated before, we've just arrested somebody for attempted murder, and 4 days later, they're out. Should it be that easy to get out when you're arrested for attempted murder? You know, that's a question for legislators. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have not talked to them. I have spoken with some of our legislators about some of those issues and things that we can bring up around bail and bond issues, things that we've been seeing with repeat violent offenders. I think there have to be some exceptions to these rules. When you injure multiple people, we're seeing mass shootings take place, unfortunately, more and more in our society. There have to be some exceptions to who's allowed to post bond and who's not, and under what circumstances. This, to me, is certainly one that should be a no-brainer. And I think too often, you know, when mayors talk about this, it's viewed through some, not all, but some as, well, the mayors are obfuscating their responsibilities. When we're not doing that, we're highlighting the things that we know that we deal with day to day. Outside of this, I would be in South Alabama meeting with the 9 other mayors of the largest cities in this state. And there's not a session that goes by when the Big Ten Mayors Association gets together, we aren't talking about public safety and what things need to change. And that's a bipartisan group of mayors that represents various portions of this state. And I think it's incumbent upon those at the state level not to allow these types of things to slip through the cracks. There have been mass shootings in this state over the last several years in other cities. So we've known what the possibilities could be. The thing we have to ask is, whether it's the Attorney General, whether it's the state legislature, or anybody else, is what solutions have been proposed? What solutions have been initiated at the state level, even as mayors have sought to have more issues, whether it's a NIAS law or whether it's common sense gun reform laws and other issues regarding bail and bond reform. Those are things that we shouldn't wait for the next mass shooting to happen. Something like this, where it's an attempted murder, for that to be a $60,000 bond to be the ceiling. That's a slap in the face to the victims. It's a slap in the face to this community and everybody involved. And we've got to think through how do you do things proactively when it comes to these type of legislative matters as opposed to reactive. Any other questions?
The chief spoke with business owners at the community meeting, and one of the things they'd like to see is foot patrols. First off, are there currently foot patrols in the downtown area? And if not, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think one thing you'll see is, of course, you know, this made us reevaluate a lot of things. And one of the things that we've done is we have upped our patrols downtown. In fact, even changing some of the locations of where some of our officers are actually posting, both in their vehicles and on foot. In fact, one thing I mentioned at the meeting you were talking about is, one, loitering. We have zero tolerance for that. And the other thing with downtown is zero tolerance for those open containers. We're not going to tolerate anybody trying to hang out and have an impromptu party downtown. So I will flat out tell you that's done.
Some while back, we talked about having new drones. Has that been activated? Have the drones contributed to arrest specifically of any of these homicides?
The drones are used in multiple ways. Now, drones were utilized in this investigation. I won't specify how because I do not want to compromise our strategic and tactical uses, but they have been utilized in this investigation. But we've also utilized them also in patrol. We've also utilized them in things related to our special operators, our SWAT teams. So drones have, you know, we've activated our drone fleet, so to speak. Of course, we're still building it because I want to get it bigger. I started it with 4, and I intend to get it even larger. And but it was very instrumental.
I just have a quick follow-up. I know the commercial availability of drones has been hindered by some of the terrorists. Is that not affecting you?
It has not affected us in that way. The key thing about getting drones for law enforcement is making sure you get drones that have the technical capabilities to do what you need them to do. We can't just get an off-the-shelf drone. We have to get a drone that has capabilities that allow us literally to see through walls, you could say. So those are specialized tools, but one thing we have found is it has not hindered us in any way, shape, or form, and we'll continue to do what we need to grow our drone fleet.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.